Alola Pokemon trainers, this is GatorX, and today I was able to see the Pokemon I Choose You movie. Now, this was a movie that was given a limited release here in the US, but I mean just the fact that there's a Pokemon movie back in theaters here in the US is a pretty big deal, and it's really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the movie, just like sort of a mini review. Again, I just got back and I saw it, and let me know what you think of this format for reviews. But anyway, this is a good movie, I think, overall. Like rating it on a scale of Pokemon movies, I think this is like a solid 8 out of 10. Of course, I'm not going to talk about it comparing it to other movies in general, because we know that the Pokemon movies aren't like cinematic masterpieces, but they're all enjoyable. If you're a Pokemon fan, you're definitely going to enjoy it. And again, because of how special this event is, they do a lot of cool things. You do get this Pikachu card. It's a special, and my green screen is clipping through part of it, but you get a special Pikachu card, and it does have a code to get an Ash Cat Pikachu in Ultra Sun and Moon. That was really interesting that it was Ultra Sun and Moon rather than, regular Sun and Moon. So that's just a way to get two Ash Cat Pikachus if you don't already have more than one. So that's really cool. But again, because it was put on by Fathom Events, so beforehand they showed some episodes of Pokemon Generations, which is really cool to see on the big screen. And they showed this little music video with the first Pokemon theme song, which sounded really great because they added some extra drums in the background. But overall, on to the movie. Now, we know that this movie is a retelling of Ash's original journey, and for the most part, it does stick to a lot of it, but sort of near the end, it kind of changes. Ash, of course, does start out on his journey. He gets Pikachu. There's a classic Ash stopping all the Spearows from attacking Pikachu and everything. And he does meet up with the two new characters that we saw in the trailer and that we've known about for a while, Verity and Sorrow. They're really cool. Of course, their Pokemon being Piplup and Lucario, that's just some hints for Gen 4 confirmed, Gen 4 remakes confirmed. But they're pretty cool. Verity is actually, she actually wants to battle, as opposed to, when we would get like the companions in like Dawn and May, who were more so focused on Pokemon contest, and also Serena, she was like focused on the Pokemon contest as well. But Verity, she just straight up wants to battle. She's like the daughter of a very famous Pokemon trainer, so she kind of wants to follow in her mother's footsteps. And then Sorrel's really interesting because he wants to be a Pokemon professor. He does kind of take the role of like the Brock, Silent, Clement, or whatever, the character that kind of cares for everybody. But he's really neat because he wants to have a specific focus in legendary Pokemon. And then that does kind of feed into the main plot, which I'll talk more about at the end. As far as, stories and stuff that are retold from the anime, the TV show, we get the Butterfree storyline, albeit, condensed. We get the Charmander to Charizard storyline, of course, condensed and changed up. But one of the things about Charizard's storyline is that, Charmander's original trainer actually is a recurring character throughout the movie, and he kind of serves as an antagonist. Personally, I think that works better than, just having him being some random jerk, which, I mean, I guess he's some random jerk. But I do like that he at least maybe has some sort of a better role. And he gets a little more developed. This character is Cross. He isn't the same guy from the original TV show. He's changed up, and he owns a Lycanroc and an Incineroar. So he has, that Gen 7 love right there and representation. But the main story of Pokemon, the movie I Choose You, it does focus on Ash's journey to meet Ho-Oh again. Because, from the very first episode in the TV show, it's paralleled here in the movie where Ho-Oh flies over Ash after, he rescues Pikachu from all the Spearow, and Ho-Oh actually drops a rainbow wing, and that kind of leads them onto the journey to meet Ho-Oh, at the end of this mountain. And then, of course, Marshallow's around, and it does something. And then lastly is Team Rocket, which I actually think Team Rocket, okay, they were in the movie, but they were more in the background. See, in the Pokemon movies generally, Team Rocket is more in the background, and they're more for comedic effect because, in the movies, normally we're following Ash and his current companions, and we know that Team Rocket's around, but they're not the main antagonist because normally it's like, some big bad legendary or some type of evil person or organization that wants to control a legendary or something to that degree, and then Team Rocket is, just there. But in this movie, they're just there, and they don't do anything. They do less in this movie than any other movie before, and I think that's okay, I know why they're there. They're there for fan service and to connect it all, Pokemon and, Pokemon First Generation. But you could have had this movie with Team Rocket completely cut out of it. And I personally would have preferred that they were not in this movie, because then we'd just have a little more focus in the movie, which, is one thing that would help it out overall. But I think that's about everything I wanted to state as far as general stuff. Overall, I definitely think you should see it if you are a Pokemon fan, because, you're at least going to get your free card, which is pretty... It could be something down the line. It's not holographic, but it is, just exclusive, and it's cool to have, and, just the experience. It actually did get extended as far as, different showings, so I encourage you to check out Fathom Events, the Fathom Events website, and find a showing near you if possible. Again, it's more the experience, especially if you're going to be seeing it with other friends who are Pokemon fans. That is one interesting thing. The theater was full when I went there to my theater, and it was full of, everybody had children, of course, who were Pokemon fans, parents who brought their children, and then quite a few people in the about 14 to 25-ish range, give or take. So, a lot of people like me there seeing the movie. And I happened to hear them all talking, and they all were at different levels in Pokemon affinity, I guess you would say. I'm pretty confident in saying that I probably was the most knowledgeable Pokemon person there, and that's not bragging at all. That's just sort of a measurement of the kind of people who are seeing this movie, which I think is great. Because, it probably was quite a few people who are like, you know what, I want to see this Pokemon movie again. And, a lot of people enjoyed it. But now I'm going to get into some spoilers for the Pokemon movie. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to leave a comment to tell me how excited you are for it. Leave a like, go see it, and then maybe we can talk about the spoilers when you get back. But anyway, Ash dies again. I don't think that this is something... Okay, so it happens in a lot of Pokemon movies. Not that it was something to be expected, but when it happened, I was just like, eh. And he comes back just... No reason. He comes back for no reason, basically. Which didn't make much... Okay, because Ho-Oh was in this movie, right? Ho-Oh was kind of the big main legendary that we were focusing on and everything, and, was a good guy. And they straight up, mentioned that Ho-Oh revived Entei, Suicune, and Raikou. So you could have easily had that be the explanation for how Ash came back to life. He sacrifices himself to save Pikachu. Oh, he dies. And then, Ho-Oh comes and he's like, oh, well, this guy was real heroic. Let me revive him and everything. You could have had that, but they just didn't. Also, Marshadow is the big bad of this movie. Marshadow is following Ash around, and you think it's mischievous at first, and then... near the end, I kind of, near the climax, I kind of felt like, oh, it's just there to observe. They say it's just there to observe, but then, he kind of turns and becomes the bad guy, and they all gotta fight against Marshadow. But I gotta say, once the movie got to the climax, this part here, where Marshadow is, where they gotta stop Marshadow, and, they're gonna like, call or summon Ho-Oh or whatever. When they're fighting Marshadow, in the climax, I think that's where the movie really, really is the best. That's where it really, really takes off. And, beforehand, they also battle the Cross, the guy who previously owned Charmander, who is now a Charizard, and they battle him right before the Marshadow battle. And then afterwards, Cross gets some redemption because he helps them out and everything. Personally, I actually liked Cross. As a character, he's the bully, but then he gets his redemption and everything. And again, like I said, it's a really neat epic battle at the end with Marshadow. Overall, the movie is formatted differently from Pokemon normally, at least at the beginning part, because the beginning part almost literally is the episodes, but just kind of condensed a little, and with better animation and better acting and a little. I think some things were executed better. So, but again, the Butterfree, I think you could have kept Butterfree out of it. We didn't need to cry again. But overall, I think it's really great. I don't think there was... Oh, yes, for spoilers. That's right, we're still talking about that. Once it gets to the credits, because, I stuck around to see the credits, because there wasn't anything like... There was no Marvel level after credits scene like Thor Ragnarok, like I just saw yesterday. But anyway... we get to see, the other travel companions. They're just kind of shown in this, like a special animation did for the end of this trailer. You know, we get to see Brock, Misty, May, Max, everybody else, Tracy even, which they didn't forget Tracy. So that's just kind of cool. I don't know if it implies that Ash will meet them later on, or if it's just kind of just more fan service as a celebration for, 20th movie, 20th anniversary from last year. But I mean, that was just cool to see. Oh, and then also that reminds me, at the end of this movie, Ash does part ways with Verity and with Sorrel. So I guess it could kind of lead into, him meeting up with Brock and Misty and then everyone else and traveling through the rest of the region. But I don't know. And again, Ash only gets about 3 gym badges by the end of this movie. And, he splits up with Verity and Sorrel. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting. But I actually did like Verity and Sorrel. They were pretty cool characters. And honestly, I would have liked to be able to see maybe more in this continuity of Pokemon. Because, we know that this is alternate continuity, alternate universe, because Pokemon does that now for some reason. But I actually would have liked to see more of Ash, Verity, and Sorrel all together. I think they actually made, a pretty neat trio altogether. And of course, Pikachu and Piplup I think is like the cutest best friend duo. Oh, and I guess that is the absolute last thing, and I dropped my Pikachu. But Pikachu was oh my gosh, he's getting hit by the green screen. But Pikachu was probably the cutest in this movie than as I've ever seen, which is great. And Pikachu talks for some reason at the end. Again, I think that's the big thing that hurts the movie, because, the movie really does take off when it's at that climax with Marshadow, and then there's just some random, unexplainable magic going on. But anyway, I guess that's all for this video, talking about, sort of reviewing. I hope I didn't go on too long or anything, but if you saw the movie, let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Were you disappointed in some degrees? Let's just go ahead and continue the discussion down there. Also, if... you know what? You can't do that, whatever. Anyway, if you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out. And it will also make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX and Pikachu. Have a nice day. And see the movie if you haven't already, but for some... Why'd you watch the spoilers? If you haven't seen it?